Who will be the first trillionaire in the world? There were 2,825 billionaires in the world in 2019. All of these billionaires have a combined wealth of $7.67 trillion. And here's something crazy. The top 8 richest billionaires in the world have as much combined wealth as half of the human race, but yet no one has made it to the $1 trillion mark. It's so exciting to hear the phrase, $1 trillion. You immediately want to count the zeros trailing. Having said that, some countries don't even have a GDP of $1 trillion. Bhutan or Bermuda, for example. $1 trillion is enough to buy a multinational company and still have some money left over. You could demolish poverty from some countries and still have cash left to buy Coca-Cola. If the wealthiest person spends less than 50% of his wealth, it could solve the starvation problems globally. Before we get started, make sure that you subscribe and click the bell. That way, you are notified every day when we post a new video. Make sure you stick around until the end, where we briefly discuss some of the richest people in history who have been close to reaching the $1 trillion mark, but didn't quite make the cut. Before discussing who can be the first trillionaire, let's take a look at some billionaires who probably won't make it. Bill Gates, Carlos Slim, and Warren Buffett. Bill Gates. Bill Gates has been an idol for many since childhood. After all, he was the one who made us believe that infinite wealth exists. While Bill Gates seemingly still has youth on his side at age 64, his inclinations have changed. Regardless of whether Gates is keener on gathering more riches than parting with it through his Gates Foundation, Gates would need to locate another new thing to put resources into, because Microsoft doesn't give any indications of allowing Gates to reach the $1 trillion mark. Carlos Slim and Warren Buffett. The first trillionaire won't originate from the current positions of the world's most extravagant individuals. Carlos Slim and Warren Buffett both have sizable and substantial business interests, yet they're both in their 70s. Even if Carlos Slim could accomplish the uncommon pace of a return of 25% after charge each year inconclusively, it would take more than 11 years to turn his $62 billion fortune into $1 trillion, and that is assuming he put everything at risk. So who's going to be the first trillionaire? Going through the previous list of who could not be the first trillionaire, you might be thinking, then who actually is in the race to be the first trillionaire? The amount being so large in number makes us think that there might be only a handful of people on the list. But surprisingly, there are more people likely to be trillionaires than we might think. Here is a list of people we think are in the running to be the world's first trillionaire. Mukesh Ambani from India. Elon Musk, the SpaceX guy. Jeff Bezos, the Amazon guy. Jack Ma, the Alibaba guy. Ma Hutang, Tencent Holdings. Steve Ballmer, ex-CEO of Microsoft. Bernard Arnault, Louis Vuitton SE. Michael Dell, Dell Technologies founder. Sergey Brin, and Larry Page from Google. 1. Jeff Bezos. Net worth $190 billion. Jeff Bezos is probably the most likely candidate to reach the $1 trillion mark, with a net worth of $190 billion. He lost $36 billion to his ex-wife Mackenzie during the divorce, yet Bezos is still the richest man in the world. His wealth continues to grow exponentially. Amazon continues to grow at a staggering rate of 34% annually for the last 5 years. In these challenging times of the COVID pandemic, where you see millions losing their jobs and companies losing their shares, we do not see the same with Amazon. Reports mention that if the growth rate continues shortly, Jeff Bezos might become the first trillionaire on the planet. Total growth of 34% has been recorded at an average in the last 5 years. Indeed, even as the COVID pandemic furies worldwide, the world's most extravagant are assessed to develop their riches in the coming years. As per a report, Amazon founder and CEO Jeff Bezos might turn into the world's first trillionaire as soon as the year 2026, so all things considered, he will be 62. Bezos' total assets will increment continuously in 2026. and he will accomplish the title of a trillionaire. 2. Mukesh Ambani. Net worth $80.3 billion. While his current total assets are $52.4 billion, Ambani will probably grow out of this into a trillionaire come 2033. At this moment, Ambani is 63 years of age, and by 2033, his age will be around 75 years. 3. Elon Musk. Net worth $70.2 billion. Elon Musk is currently the CEO of SpaceX and CEO of Tesla. Being the CEO of 4 organizations and the chairman of OpenAI, Musk creates a decent sum of income. A decent sum is putting it mildly, with him being worth a little more than $40 billion. 40.4 to be precise, and the number is on the ascent. In any case, the idea of Elon Musk passing Jeff Bezos seems unrealistic, not to mention turning into a trillionaire. One thing ought to be contemplated. If Musk's future objectives work out as expected, he could surpass anybody in time. 4. Jack Ma. Net worth $50 billion. Alibaba's founder, Jack Ma, could become a trillionaire by 2030, at the age of 65. As told by the report, Alibaba's Jack Ma is likewise on the rundown of individuals who will probably turn into trillionaires and are relied upon to cross the $1 trillion mark by 2030. Jack will turn 65 in the following 10 years. Jack Ma was born to a storyteller, musician family. He grew up seeing communism grow around him. His education was not smooth sailing, and he was not good at his studies. He failed in his preliminary examinations. He failed 3 times before graduating. His struggle was never ending, as he could not make it to the Harvard University even after applying 10 times. Jack was good at English. He continued to take advantage of it and started teaching as a professor at a local university. Later on, he started his first translation services business and was exposed to the internet's potential, wherein he started his first website as China Page that listed Chinese websites and products. Who knows? Maybe the man who failed preliminary examinations and couldn't get into Harvard will be the next trillionaire. 5. Steve Ballmer. Net worth $77.7 billion. An employee who made $72 billion in a job. Yes, you heard it right. Even the top founder and CEOs of many companies do not cross the $1 million mark. Still, at the peak of his career, Steve Ballmer was making $1.2 million a year. But even at this rate, he would still be around 769 years away from becoming a trillionaire. How did he achieve this? He quit his job in the early 80s to join a startup named Microsoft and knew Bill Gates from Harvard, but did not think of working with Microsoft full-time and thought of working only as a part-time employee. However, later on, he started working at Microsoft full-time. His significant contribution to the company was in the first meeting with IBM. This one meeting turned into several meetings, and finally, he agreed to run Microsoft on IBM machines, which eventually led Steve to own 8% of Microsoft. This was the ticket to his billionaire status. He is the current owner of the NBA franchise. He was the former owner of Microsoft from 2000 to 2014, and he just might be the first trillionaire. So who are some of the richest people in history? Who has came close to making $1 trillion? Really, the term close is misleading, because even though the people on the following list were mega wealthy, they were still several $100 billion away from the $1 trillion mark. Nevertheless, here are some of the wealthiest people in history. Number 5, Andrew Carnegie. Andrew Carnegie had a net worth of $310 billion and got most of his wealth through investments in railroads. Number 4, John D. Rockefeller. John D. Rockefeller had a net worth of $340 billion. He founded the Standard Oil Company, and he was a pioneer for developments in scientific and medical research. Number 3, the Rothschild family. The Rothschild family had a net worth of $350 billion. This international banking family started their business in 1760, and some wealthy descendants are alive today. Number 2, Tsar Nikolai Alexandrovich Romanov. He had a net worth of $300 to $400 billion. He was the last emperor of Russia and he was known as Nicholas the Bloody. Number 1. Mansu Musa, the first king of Timbuktu. Mansu Musa has a fortune of approximately $400 billion. That may not be a familiar name that you read about often, but he is estimated to be the wealthiest man that ever lived. Africa is known to be prosperous in terms of salt and gold deposits. He derived his fortune from Africa's enormous salt and gold reservoirs, which were once estimated for half the entire world's stock. Musa became the ruler of West Africa's Malian Empire in the early 14th century, leading to the construction of hundreds of mosques across the continent. To become a billionaire, one thing is a must: be a person of vigor and strong will. Become an automobile company business person, or develop a technology, or become a retail giant. Years and years of consistent hard work, good profit, better returns and investments just might make you a billionaire, or maybe even, dare I say it, a trillionaire. So, who will become the world's first trillionaire? This question is still left unanswered, but we are keeping our bet on Jeff Bezos. Comment down below and tell us who you think will be the first trillionaire. Also, give this video a thumbs up and share it with a friend. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.